Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. We're going to talk Polk State College men's basketball, Florida Southern College women's lacrosse, and smoke on the water. Stick around, everybody, for this week's edition of Sports Central. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Hank Longo, and welcome to Sports Central. And this first segment brought to us by the Country Club of Winter Haven. And I know you've torn up their fairways pretty good over the years.
Yes, I have.
I mean,
kinda
played
like
well.
A, kinda like
played
a
well.
Backhoe at a construction site, but you know, I love to play golf, and they've just done a marvelous job.
It's a fantastic course.
Club. Yeah,
and even
great.
after Hurricane Irma, they lost about 100 trees, so they've done a great job of getting the course back and into great position the way it is, great condition. Speaking of great condition, I'm excited about this first segment, but before we get to it, congratulations to Lake Gibson High School. Their wrestling team won their first state championship, and you know, Brandon High School was that hurdle for many years. They won like 20-some straight wrestling state championships, but congratulations to Lake Gibson.
Yeah, they did it.
I'm sure we'll see them at the
Polk knows what it feels like now to be there.
Exactly, and we'll see them June 12th, I'm sure, at the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the RP Funding Center. Well, let's go ahead and get to our first guest. Really doesn't need any introduction. Certainly the last name doesn't, but head coach of Polk State College men's basketball team, Brandon Giles. Coach, welcome to Sports Central, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah, just what a story. I mean, just how this all began. You as a little kid and having your dad, Coach Josh Giles, who's in our Polk County Sports Hall of Fame, and you know, growing up and getting to sit with him at his games and coaching and all that he learned, and then you become the Ledger Player of the Year and go off to Western Carolina to play, and you play in Europe, and now you're back here in Polk County. What an adventure.
Yeah, things have really came full circle, man, just to kind of sit back and think about, you know, when I was a child, coming up in the gym, going in there every day with my dad to practices, games, things like that, and now I get to sit in the same seat that he did and continue his legacy. I mean, you can't ask for a better story. And the fact that now I have a 2-year-old son and he gets to, you know, live the same life I did coming up as a child is just amazing to be able to continue my father's legacy in the same seat that he did.
And of course, you have to start your own legacy.
Correct. You know, the most amazing part about it is I get to put my own identity on the program now. You know, it's been laid out before me with Coach Matt Virginia. He's done a great job there. I think he had over 500 wins, and then obviously my father, and then now for me to be next in line, you know, come in, take some of that same success they had, but then also put my own identity on it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I think it is a neat story, and Hank did a great job of kind of laying things out of how it all came to be. We'll talk a little bit about this season, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the first year, what are some of the, because I know it's a little bit, maybe the wins and losses aren't where you want them to be right now, but it's a work in progress, and it takes a while to lay your foundation because it's different than the previous coach, and all coaches are different from each other. So talk a little bit about that. Once you got the job, what were some of the things you started to do? And I've got to assume that your recruiting starts right here in Polk County because there's great basketball here in Polk County.
Right. When I first came in, the biggest thing, and let me be clear, it's been a fun challenge. It's nothing that, you know, I wake up every day and just like, oh, it's miserable. It's been a fun, enjoyable challenge. But when I first got the job, one of the first things I wanted to improve was the housing situation, improve the locker rooms and the offices, and then also, you know, food situation. Those three things were a high priority of mine. And we went and got new housing. They renovated our locker rooms, renovated the offices. They've also, you know, painted the gym. We've established a booster club room within the gym. It's actually like a booster club room suite. So now the boosters can sit within that suite. They cut out a big, huge glass window for the boosters to kind of sit in, fellowship, enjoy refreshments, things like that, while watching college basketball. And those are things that, you know, the school's just been amazing on as far as supporting. Community's been huge with support. And then you talk about recruiting. We always want to have 1 or 2 Polk County guys within our program, whether they're a part of the top 5 or a part of the top or the bottom 5. We want to have Polk County within our program because we are a community school, and you know, Polk County is home, so we want to take care of those kids first.
Well, it's got to be a real uplift for you and for the team and for your team spirit and enthusiasm when you see the school get behind you and make the improvements that they've had,
Right.
and really go to bat for you. Having that support from the college itself must be, you know, a great inspiration to just help drive this force even harder.
Right. I think it's definitely lit a fire under our guys because, let's be honest, you know, it's been a tough road with some tough scheduling, and the wins and losses aren't there we want it. But one thing about our guys, they show up to practice, show up to film, games, and bring energy and effort every day. And that says a lot, you know, about the group of guys we have. When you're losing games like we are and maybe not as successful as we want to be, the guys still show up every single day and show a great deal of resilience. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the school support, community support, the attendance at the games, you know, all that type of stuff matters. And guys, you know, that helps guys, that motivates guys a little bit.
Makes them want to give back.
Right.
And it's not always about wins and losses, obviously, and it's teaching some of these young men kind of the do's and don'ts and some of the life lessons. And I see here that you guys actually started a mentoring program between faculty on staff at Polk State College and your basketball team. Quickly talk about that.
Right. So going in, like the first team meeting we had, we sat the guys down and let them know, you know, basketball is basketball. You know, no matter how good you are at it, how bad you are at it, the ball's going to stop dribbling one day, so you have to bring something else to the table. You have to be more than a basketball player. So I got with the Dean of Academics and Professor Earl Brown on campus there. We came up with a plan to create a mentoring program to where we pair each one of our student athletes up with a professor on campus that will serve as their one-on-one mentor throughout the course of the year. To where they can go to about a class, about anything. You know, they go out and eat lunch together, all that good stuff, and it's very beneficial to them as a student because that's the first aspect. Because no matter, like I said, how good you are, that ball's going to stop dribbling one day. And I commend all the professors, and especially Dean Robinson and Mr. Earl Brown for allowing us to partner with them in that project. And then in addition to that, we have like the TLCC Center where we do our study halls at, all that good stuff. So, you know, the academic piece is definitely something our staff, we take pride in.
Well, you know, it's a great opportunity to get an education too. I mean, you can't beat it. You get to go to school and play the game that you love, but then also, you know, you get an education to go along with it. And even when you're playing the game, you've got to have education. And,
Correct.
you know, when Peyton Manning talked about the end of his career, and it was like, well, I think I studied more than everybody else.
Right.
I think I watched more video than everybody else. And there's, you know, it's just not going out and playing and being great. And I think that when you learn that out on the court, that you've got to study the game and be a student of the game, you've got to take that same mentality and be a student of life and have a game plan, like you say, that when that ball stops dribbling, you're prepared to go out in the world and be successful in another arena.
It starts with being open with those professors, whether they're your tutor or not. I tell our guys, when you walk into the class, be open to your professors. They're not your enemy. They're there to help you and, you know, help make you into a better, a stronger young adult, you know, not just on the basketball court, but in the classroom as well.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and on the heels of that, obviously getting the community involved, you alluded to it earlier, but on January 20th, you guys had kids under a certain age, A's and B's on the report card, got into the game free.
Right.
Talk about that and maybe some things that are going to happen in the future in regards to community outreach.
Right, so we wanted to, with Polk State basketball, it's always going to be bigger than basketball, so I knew that I'm a former employee of the Polk County School Board, so I knew report cards were coming out on the 17th, I believe. So earlier in the year, we said, let's honor those kids who got A, B honor roll and have an educational day that same week, to where if they brought their report card to the basketball game showing they got A's and B's, they got free entry into the game as well as a Polk State basketball T-shirt. And we just wanted to, you know, show the community that we're not just about basketball, we're about, you know, giving back, but also incentivize those kids who did well in the classroom, because that's the same thing we preach to our student athletes on our team.
That's fantastic, and how exciting it had to be for the kids.
Oh yeah, it was. Didn't have as many as we expected. We'll get better as far as marketing and things like that. But overall crowd was good. Not as many educational kids were there, but it was fun. And then we also got the win.
And you started it. You got the ball rolling.
It's
on
about
that
starting.
program.
Yep. And our next thing we're doing as far as community outreach, so to speak, is actually tomorrow we have a student choir coming in, singing the national anthem, giving back to those kids, allowing them to gain some extra exposure. And then on the 31st, we have our big blackout game against the number 5 team in the country, Florida Southwest, which is also a conference game. So we're asking everybody to show up to the games and wear black.
Wow. That'll be a learning experience for you guys, playing a team that's where you learn about the game. It's like we're going to see what it takes to get in the top 5 in the country. And if you can hang out there with them, you know, I think it'll be a real test of how they play ball, and they'll learn from it, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's our 4th matchup against a top 10 team in the country. So, well, not top 10, I'm sorry, top 25 team in the country. So our guys are battle tested. They've seen it before. They're going to be ready for it. We're preparing. We're doing a great job of preparing as far as scouting reports and film and things like that. And I commend my assistant coaches for a lot of the work that they do in that area. So we're going to be ready. It's just about playing a full 40 minutes.
Well, Coach, good luck with those upcoming contests and the rest of the season, and as you continue to lay your foundation for the way you want the program to be. So we appreciate you coming on Sports Central, and good luck.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Okay, Coach Giles.
All right. Well, Polk County is also known for youth soccer, and the Region C Cup is put on by the Florida Youth Soccer Association each year at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park. And that event is presented by Publix. We're going to look at some footage from last year's action, as this year's event will be February 3rd and 4th at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale. Take a look at this action. Hank and Neal will be right back here on Sports Central.
Today's going on, it's called Region C Under 9s, Under 10 Festival. And we have teams, like I was saying, from Citrus County all the way down to Naples, including Clearwater and Lakeland. And we have Under 9s, Under 10 where they play a festival format. Everybody's a winner, nobody's a loser. You just go out there and you play and you have a good time. And today we added some other things. We have like a little moon thing where you kick a ball through holes for the soccer, or shoot a basketball in the hopes.
We have 77 teams. They're comprised of U9 and U10 players from all over Region C. They go from Naples to Brooksville. We have 14 fields running today, so we're running a lot of games between the hours of 8 and 5.
Youth soccer in this area has grown, and I've been doing this now as vice president for 10 years, and we have grown. Now I have 87 clubs, but youth soccer has grown in this area that we have ODP, as you can see, our ODP teams, and they go to other states and they play against other states.
I think we have, right here in Regency, we have the most number of teams that participate in our statewide events, averaging anywhere between 300 to 600 teams just from here alone. So overall, the state, we have several teams that, you know, advance and go on a national level. As a matter of fact, we had a national team, you know, champion this year right out of our area here.
This is like just a start. Right now, this is like a start of all our soccer tournaments, the under 9s and under 10s festival. So this is what I like to do every year.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan, and alongside Hank Longo.
Hey, we have a great yummy section coming up here. It's number 2 segment, and I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of being on Sports Central.
I really feel bad about naming Cypress Lanes as the sponsor of this segment with Hank wearing that.
But it's festive.
It is festive. Cypress Lane's a great bowling center over there in Winter Haven, great partners of tourism and sports marketing. If you're wondering why Hank has that on his face, it is that time of year that Smoke on the Water, one of Hank's favorite events, is it's here, it's upon us, and we want to welcome to the show. Well, you know what? You love this event so much. Why don't you introduce our next guest?
I am going to introduce our guest now that I'm back to normal. Kevin, Ward, and John Jebens, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Hank.
You're welcome. And I'll tell you, this is the one thing I want to stress is what a perfect example this is of business people in our community that step up to the plate to make this event happen, because it's hundreds of hours of work putting on this event, and Kevin takes away from his company, Ward Design, and John Jebens with the 610 Corporation, you know, puts in a bunch of time, and it's just so great to see how many people in our community step up to the plate to make this event happen.
Yep, it's well worth it for the Boys and Girls Club, for sure.
It's amazing. 14th annual already.
14th annual
of this event,
yep.
and you mentioned the Boys and Girls Club. Let's start there, and then get to all the things that make the event. Talk about the charity aspect of it, because a lot of people are on the receiving side of this event. So you definitely want to go out there and participate, because it's going to impact someone's life.
It is, and everybody knows that the Boys and Girls Club is a great place for kids to go. It's a safe place for kids to go. And 14 years ago, there was a small group of guys in Winter Haven sitting around. They were board members for the Boys and Girls Club, and they were talking about, you know, what can we do to have another fun fundraiser, and a couple of them were barbecue guys and into music and stuff, and they said, well, why don't we put it all together and make an event out of it, and it'll be music and it'll be a barbecue event, and Smoke on the Water was born, and 14 years later, it's still going, and it does very well for the club every year. It's our signature event.
And the neat thing is here, let me get this thing going here so people can check this out. Russ can zoom in on this a little bit. And great event. Friday night we have a party, and Kevin, you want to talk about that a little bit?
The Friday night party is for the sponsors that actually donate money to the event, and we have a band that plays in the tent that night. It's going to be Bee Haven this year. We decided that we were going to keep local bands involved in this. Travis Williams is going to start out with his acoustic set during the dinner, so it's a little quiet. And then Bee Haven's going to play till 10, and then Zambelli Fireworks is going to do a fantastic fireworks show at 10 o'clock. And then after that, Bee Haven will come back on for a couple more sets, and we'll shut down about 11 o'clock. And it's the sponsor dinner party, and I sure hope that everybody that's listening would step up to the plate and be sponsors, because we have some super opportunities there.
And then the other people besides the sponsors can come as well.
Yeah, it's open to the public. There's a $10 admission. They can get in at 6 o'clock. The teams are going to be vending, so they can buy barbecue from the teams. Friday night, it gets pretty packed on Saturday, and people like the option of coming Friday night so that they don't have to fight the crowd on Saturday. So it's a good deal. Yeah.
And then John, what a great deal! $1 at the door. It's just a buck
You can't beat
donation.
it. Yeah, and it's so neat because like we had our meeting last night out at the Boys and Girls Club, and it's just so neat before the event set up to be walking around the grounds with all the little kids running around, and they're such good kids, and the teachers out there are just phenomenal, and it just makes you feel like all the effort into it is just well worth it. So I'm excited to be a part of it. I've been involved now for a number of years, and it's a great opportunity. So
Yeah,
I hope
great.
everybody should look at it and chip in if you can.
Absolutely, a great opportunity to affect someone's life. It
Absolutely.
needs just a little
Yeah.
bit. So the event is at the Citrus Center Boys and Girls Club in Winter Haven. But talk to us a little bit about the free park and ride program and how that works, because to make sure parking's not
Sure.
an issue, you guys offer that. So who wants to take that?
Go ahead, John.
Well, basically what we do is we've gotten a number of locations that are up and down Havendale Boulevard, and church areas and some other, they're within like, what would you say, half, 3/4 mile distance. And we stage those, and we have shuttles that basically will allow you to park in these lots, and they'll shuttle you back and forth from the event, because the parking in the actual area and the school that's next door to it is somewhat limited, and that's where we typically have the bands and people in the events and things like that. They're not staying on the site proper. So
You can park up the street, and
Yeah,
a
the
school
street.
bus will bring you down and take you back. And
then we also have some other shuttle
we've
that's
got
available
some
too.
limo
Yeah.
golf carts that
Yeah.
are shuttling people from different locations.
It makes it pretty convenient. So I mean, if you want to leave, they're running constantly. It's not like you've got to wait a long period of time. So it's come if you can, because parking off-site is not a big deal whatsoever.
So free shuttle for parking, $1 on Saturday to get in.
Yep.
You're just buying your food and beverage, and then the entertainment's provided.
Yep.
And
Really not a reason not to come.
No,
No.
we got bands going on all day out
No.
there, from 10 o'clock, starting until 10 until all through the day.
All through the day, yeah.
The Blues Roosters almost there. Nathan Baldwin Band, I got to catch them up in Davenport, and they're a great band. Of course, Soul to Earth, and then the
they're
legendary
they're
JC.
classic, yep,
So
yep.
it's a lot of fun. They've got a ski show twice going on by the Cypress Garden ski team. They're going to put on a couple of ski shows, and it's just a fantastic event all day long. You really can't beat it.
Yeah, we've got a young lady singing the national anthem in the morning at 10 o'clock when the event opens, and Mark Voisard from the water ski team is going to be flying his kite with some red, white, and blue streamers. So it should be quite a start to the event. And then at 5:30, the show slows down because the teams get their trophies, and we'll find out who the barbecue champion is this year.
And the neat thing about this, it's a part of the Florida Barbecue Association. So this
right.
is an event where the competition is really sanctioned, and this is one of the competitions that they're in to compete for a year-end award on who the Mac Daddy barbecuer is.
Yeah.
Right. We have 50 pro teams this year, and they're pretty serious. They're very serious barbecuers, and they're from
up
all over
all
the
night
country.
cooking.
Up all
Oh yeah,
night.
they're up all
Yeah. Very
And
serious.
there's a following too.
There
right?
is.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody comes back each year because they maybe only had one opportunity in any given year to eat the barbecue of an individual team. So you have that, and then you also have some of those teams that are competing at local events, and these people are following them around the county or Central Florida, right?
Yeah, we have a local champion right here in Winter Haven, Rub Bagby. He wins championships all over the country, and he's homegrown right here in Winter Haven.
And we get world champions competing at this,
Yep.
and it's just you bring out the best of the best.
And you can buy it all day long. I mean, it's there. You know, they're selling it, so
Yeah.
so you get to taste it.
You know, the one thing I want to throw in here, and the importance of this is, how many kids are in the Boys and Girls Club, Kevin?
Well, between the three clubs, there's 600. At our specific location, there's almost 400 every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And what's great about it is it's not just come here and play, you know, it's not a babysitting service. It's like you come here, you do your homework, and you learn life lessons, and you have people that love you and care for you and want to help you do, you know, good in your life and become good young adults and grow up to be, you know, good responsible adults that will give back to the community when they get the opportunity for what the community has done for them. And you know, how I got involved with it was just being at the event and seeing how many of my friends were involved in this and chipping in, and I go, you know, you need to step up and get involved because there's so many people in our community that support this, and I think it's a great compliment for our community to see so many businesses that do get involved and do care about our young people, because these kids need attention, and they need direction, and they need discipline, and the reason that we do this is to raise money to keep that going.
Yeah.
And
Yep,
to
he's
let
the
these
whole
kids
purpose
of it.
have
And
this
I think
opportunity.
you started out there when you were doing some TV stuff, and now you're our main MC. I mean, you've come a long way. You're in charge of
Stepped up the
a
ladder.
lot more
Well,
stuff than you want to be, probably.
Does he wear the pig nose when
Yes,
he's on
he does.
stage?
Yeah,
that's a given.
I had a feeling.
That's a given.
I had a
You
feeling.
got to be a part of, you know, you got to fit
Right.
into the groups. There's
And
a
he
lot
fits
of
right
pigs,
in, too, you
pigs
know.
I'm hanging out with, so I don't want them to think I'm a non-breed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Well, again, if you're just tuning in, the 14th annual Smoke on the Water event held Friday, February 2nd and Saturday, February 3rd. $10 for the event from 6 to 10 p.m. on the 2nd, and that's part of, you know, there's music and food and the fireworks show, and then on the 3rd it's only $1 in addition to free parking, and then you're just buying your food and beverage, correct? Do I have all that
Correct.
right?
You got
That's
it all
an
right.
all-day event.
All right. Well, we certainly look forward to the event, and I think if we didn't mention it earlier, one of the neat things about this event, completely volunteers putting the event on, and 100% of the proceeds go to the club, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part to make.
But wait, time out, 1 second. Before we get too carried away and let these guys leave. I mean, the people
No, I was
really,
getting that stuff out of the way to get to the important
Yeah,
stuff.
just making sure we weren't. I mean,
Hank's
This-
afraid he wasn't
this
going
is
to
the
get to
best
eat.
part.
this is why you want to come to Smoke on the Water, is all this yummy barbecue, and we are not. Let's get Mr. Duncan a towel here. In fact, probably leave me
I
the
will
whole
end up with
roll.
that all over me. I might wait till after.
Well, I'm sorry, but we are not going. Kevin, here,
No,
grab yourself
I'm
you
piece
ladies out
here.
in the audience, would you like a little barbecue? We'll make sure you get some before we go
This
here.
is compliments of Rick's Barbecue.
Rick's
out in
Barbecue.
Haven.
Rick's
Barbecue, very
And
good.
of course, a big thank you to PGTV and Mayanne Nelson for the gang coming out there and supporting us every year and having us on the show, or you guys on the show. And
Thank
should
you.
I put my pig nose back on? I don't know.
I think there's something really wrong with that. The pig nose eating the
Yeah,
ribs.
Yeah.
I might offend a few piglets out there.
That's right.
Get barbecue sauce on
One
it.
last time
This is
before we head to
fantastic.
break. 14th annual Smoke on the Water. That's in Winter Haven at the Citrus Center Boys and
Good
Girls
stuff.
Club, February 2nd and 3rd. 6 to 10 p.m. on Friday night, and then 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. or until the night's over, right? Basically
Fantastic.
on
Yeah,
Saturday.
Longer typically, yeah.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much, Kevin and John.
Thank
We
you.
do appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming on. We appreciate what you do for the event and the impact that you're having over there in Winter Haven.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
All right, well,
So we have a little package here coming up, so we can eat a little
yeah,
bit more.
well, that's you
There
just
go.
go ahead. I got
You
this.
got this, okay,
You just
thank you.
cut him
Thank
out of the
you.
shot.
Thank you.
Pylon
This is so
7-on-7 football is entering its 12th year, and this event comes to Polk County. It's fantastic. We're going to take a look at some action, and hopefully we've got this cleaned up and we're done eating by the time you come back.
We're going to gobble
Hank
this
and Neal will
down.
be right back here on Sports Central.
A little bit about Pylon and the rich history in terms of our alumni. We've had 3 Heisman Trophy winners, the recent Lamar Jackson from the state of Florida. We've had NFLers like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry down at the Miami Dolphins. And so this platform has been fortunate enough to have a lot of talented athletes, many of them that go on to play college football and into the pros. Today is the Southeast Regional qualifier for the Pylon 7-on-7 National Championship Series. Basically what happens is we do 7-on-7 events all across the country in states from California to Florida to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada. And the winners of each tournament, they then move on to a national championship 4th of July weekend at Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium. So this is our Orlando region, and the winner from this event will move on to the national championship, and the top 8 will move on to the AAU Junior Olympics in Detroit, Michigan. This is one of our larger events. We'll have approximately 40 teams, somewhere between 500 athletes will come out and participate in the event. Teams from all over the country, and a lot from the state of Florida, from Tallahassee down to Miami, but there's some teams that have come in from Georgia and Tennessee, and we've been blessed and fortunate enough to have such a talented group of athletes. A lot of these kids are the influencers in their communities, and we're proud and humbled to be able to host these guys down here in Polk County. Polk County, it's an amazing place. The fields and the facility are second to none. 6 turf fields, you don't find that anywhere else in the country. The weather is gorgeous, beautiful lakes and recreation areas for the kids to play, easy to get to. And then when the kids are done playing, they can jump over onto Universal and go over to Disney. It's just a wonderful place for us, because not only do we put on the platform where these kids can play football and get some quality exposure, we also want them to get experience, a life experience, whether they're staying at the hotels that's right here on the resort, and then after they're done going out to all the restaurants and going out to Disney and things like that. It's just life experience. So this is more than just a football event. It's an experience, it's an atmosphere, and we're always happy and gracious to be able to use this facility. It's been wonderful for us.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. The segment brought to us by Echo Suites in Lakeland, a fine partner of tourism and sports marketing. Some good footage there of 7-on-7, and that's really evolved over the years. And it's a good opportunity for young athletes to really be seen on the recruiting trail in those 7-on-7 teams. So a great event, great economic impact for Polk County. Are you done? You got a mint in. You're done with ribs.
I'm done ribs for now. At the end of the show, we're chomping down on some more of those.
Well, maybe by the end of the segment, you'll offer our guests some ribs. Maybe.
I already have.
Oh, yeah, okay. You are a true gentleman, sir.
I try to be.
Well, Our next guest, we're very excited to have here on Sports Central because they were the 2016 national champs and runner-up last year. And we want to welcome to Sports Central Kara Reber, head coach of Florida Southern College women's lacrosse. And Coach, great to have you back on Sports Central.
Thanks very much for having me again.
So getting ready for the season, getting geared up, just right around the corner, what, February 10th? Is that the first, you're on the road, and then February 17th is the first home game, correct?
Correct. Yep, we will open up on the road with 2 games back-to-back up in North Carolina and then Tennessee. So hopefully the snow stays away. And then we will open up on the 17th against the team that we played in the national championship the last 2 years, and it'll be our first game on our new field on campus.
Which the Barnetts obviously had a large part in the athletic facilities there, and Barnett Athletic Complex. And I went by there not too long ago, and it is unbelievable. So changed the configuration, softball moved. You guys have your own space now. Talk a little bit about that because, one, it's nice to have, but 2, it's got to help with recruiting.
Yeah, obviously we haven't seen the impact that it could have with recruiting since our recruits haven't quite seen it yet, but the fact that we will be on campus, hopefully we draw a lot more of the students that can swing by and catch some games and be able to walk out of the locker room right onto the field will be nice. They definitely redid the complex, which makes it a great home environment with softball playing right next door and us right there as well.
So a great year last year, just came up a little bit short. What's it like to go from national champion to runner-up? They had to have been tough if you weren't able to take them out again.
Absolutely. I think they were a 7-time defending champion when we actually won. When we won. And I think that, you know, we kept up with them and played a good game, had a great first half, kind of lost some steam the second half. It's definitely a hard pill to swallow once you've won and then you are so close and don't do it again. But, you know, our goal is to get back to the national championship this year. And if we are fortunate enough to do that, it's actually played in Tampa this year. So hopefully it'll be obviously easy travel on us. And certainly the weather and the environment in May plays to our favor as well.
Let me ask you about that. And obviously we don't know, so this is speculating a little bit, but would you like it better to travel to Tampa for a national championship, kind of the whole sleep in your own bed thing, or is it good to get away and not, where are the distractions at, on the road or closer to home?
Well, school will already be out, so there won't be many students on campus.
Okay.
So once May rolls around, we still have like a week, there's graduation, then another week we start playing the regional playoffs, and then another week and we would play for the national championship. So we have some time in May where there's not much going around, so it's like lacrosse camp. So it's not a bad thing to have to stay. Like, don't have to worry about getting on a plane for travel and worrying about the logistics of where you're going to eat.
Having everything.
How can you get your team into a restaurant for dinner in a certain amount of time? So I think being pretty local, it will be nice.
Let's talk about lacrosse a bit for the folks that are watching and might not be that knowledgeable of the sport. Take us through it a little bit. How many people are on the team and what it's all about?
Okay. Well, so this year, actually, our rules have changed quite drastically from what they have been in the past. We used to, when the ref or official would blow their whistle, you used to have to kind of freeze. And a lot of people related our game to just a big game of freeze tag. Now we have free movement. So a lot more movement like soccer and basketball where when the whistle blows, like everybody can still move, get down the field. So this year more than ever, kind of don't know how everybody will do because it is going to be a very different game. We also have a 90-second possession clock as well. So if we don't get a shot on cage within that 90 seconds, the ball's turned over to the other team.
And that's new?
That is brand new this year.
So it's like the clock on a basketball shot.
Yes,
You've got so much time to take a shot, and if you don't, it goes back the other way.
Yeah, and they're trying to make it more fan friendly because there have been games where teams will hold the ball and not do anything for 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time,
try to hold
and
on.
then they just hang on to it, and you can kind of never work your way back into it. So I think the speed of the game's gonna pick up for sure. There's going to be a lot more action, probably more goals, and so hopefully it does become more fan friendly.
Just right off the top of my head what I thought of when you mentioned this, and the team's going to be a lot faster. You've got 90 seconds, so I imagine a lot more play setup is going to take place because you got to set up a play to take the shot. So will more of that strategy come into play?
Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure out what is it and at what point do you need to set up those strategies. When they did the research on putting the 90-second possession clock in, most teams were taking some form of a shot within that minute and a half. Now, obviously, if your shot goes wide of the goal or high, it's not going to count because they just don't want them doing that purposely just to get their possession clock back again. So that's something that we're all trying to figure out. You know, at what point do we say, all right, now you have to be aggressively trying to get to the goal to get some sort of opportunity?
How do you think the sport has changed, not only in the Southeast, but in Florida? Because obviously there's a connection between having a premier program like Florida Southern, winning national championships, and sports marketing's ability to recruit events to this area. Because for a long time it was the Northeast, pretty much is where the sport was taking place, but now it's pretty much up and down the eastern seaboard. Would you agree with that? And it's exploded in Florida, correct?
Yeah, I think that it's grown really big here. Obviously, having the great weather here, our coaching organization brings a huge tournament down here in November because they know the weather's going to be good and they're going to have great fields to play on. So it definitely has brought a lot of visibility to the sport for that. I know that the local high schools are adding lacrosse as well. I think last year they maybe had 4 or 5 public high schools, and I think now they have maybe 8 within Polk County that are sponsoring lacrosse. So it is absolutely growing, and it's one of those sports that people don't know a lot about, but once they see it, they're kind of drawn to it, and it brings a lot more excitement. There's so much that you can do with the game that kind of makes more involved from those that know soccer and basketball and ice hockey. It's all of that kind of combined into one.
Because what do you call the stick?
We call it a stick.
We call it a stick,
Yep.
and it's got the basket at the top.
Yeah, we call it a pocket.
A pocket.
Yep.
And the ball goes, it's like a softball-sized ball, isn't it? Right?
Actually, it's probably more like a tennis ball size,
Okay.
but harder
Okay.
and has more weight to it.
And so you're flinging that ball with the stick,
Yep.
and that's how you move the ball down the field.
Yes.
And then it's like a soccer net, or
It's actually
it's
a
actually
6 by
smaller,
6
isn't
goal.
it?
6 by 6 goal. And the idea is that you throw the ball down the field, try to get it in the goal, and score more goals than the other team.
It's just
What would a typical score be at the collegiate level, not necessarily the high school or travel, but collegiate?
I would say typically our team scores more than 10 goals a game, and typically we'd like to hold the opponent to less than 10. This year will be interesting with the possession clock, but we've had scores of 18 to 16, 20 to 2.
Wow.
It varies a lot, but the scores up in the 20s aren't hard to see. But I think it's one of those taboo things to score more than 30, so you won't really see a team put in probably more than 24 or 25.
And how long do you play for?
We play 2 halves of 30 minutes, so
Wow.
60 minutes.
And so do they stop the clock at all during this, or does it just keep on rolling?
Well, when you score a goal, it'll stop, and then there's certain situations where the clock will stop. They have kind of like basketball where you get fouled and you get to take a free throw. Similar to that in lacrosse, there's a certain area in your offensive or defensive end where they will call fouls and you get to have what we call a free position shot. So they'll stop the clock when fouls happen in that area.
Wow.
We've got about 90 seconds before we have to go to break. Real quick, talk to us about this year's team, because we know 2016 national champs, 2017 runner-up. The goal is for 2018 national champs. Talk about this team, because I know you're a little bit going into the season, a little bit of injury bug.
Yeah, we definitely are facing some injuries right now and may struggle a little bit in the beginning, but hopefully by the time, mid-March, April, May roll around, we should be back and healthy with everybody that we have. But I think we've got a really great team. We have a lot of depth where I'm hoping that we can be able to run and push the ball a lot and utilize our depth to the best of our ability. Phenomenal senior class. All of them have been superstars throughout their career, so it will be a big class that has a lot lot of desire to get back and win that national championship before they graduate. And then obviously we've got just a great group of girls right alongside with them.
And where were your teammates from? Are they local or from a lot of them out of state?
We have all over. We have Florida, we have New York, upstate New York and Long Island. We have Maryland, North Carolina, Ohio, New Jersey,
Wow.
Pennsylvania. I mean, we kind of recruit from all over the place.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah, good luck to you, Coach. We certainly would love to see you all at the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame event.
Yeah.
You're one of the teams that we have to kind of delay the awards process because we're hoping for another championship, and we certainly hope we have to wait again this year. That season opener is February 17th, and of course that's at the new Barnett Athletic Complex in a brand new field for the team. So good luck, and
Thank you.
we wish you nothing but success this season.
Thank you very much.
And when do you, before I let you go, when do you practice?
We practice 4 to 6 most every day
Almost every
after
day?
school. Yep.
Okay, so if folks want to just come out and watch you guys fling that ball around, that's when they can do it.
Yeah, 4 to 6, and we actually practice not on our game field. We practice off-site, right off of New Jersey. There's a field right there that you can. That's who's always throwing the ball around there when you drive by.
Okay, great. Well,
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Coach. Well, Florida Southern has always won numerous national championships, and as you heard from Coach, they go all over the country to recruit. But one recruit the girls' golf team was able to get is right out of Bartow High School. Loren Perez, who finished third, I believe, in the state championships this year, signed with Florida Southern. We've got a package here in our Athlete Spotlight. Hank and Neal will be right back here on Sports Central.
I started playing golf when I was about 7 or 8. It started out here at the golf camp that Chris Banks puts on every year during the summer. He does this little game where if you make a putt or you chip it in or get it closest to the hole, you win $1. Well, the camp was every two days a week, and I would be coming back with money all the time. And by the end of the camp, he told my dad when he went to pick me up one day, this girl has potential, and that I really want to work with her and get her into these little junior tournaments, and she'll get better as she grows. And from then on, he's been that person for me. So it's taken me a long time to get where I am. My biggest difficulty that I've had for sure has been my short game, chipping and putting. I'm a great ball striker, but you can't hit the ball solid every single shot. So that one shot I missed the green, now I'm having to struggle to make par or to make that 6-foot or 4-par. So I've really had to crack down on spending not just 2 hours on the range, but 4 hours putting and chipping. You definitely have to be patient. Patience is key with golf. You have to be determined. You have to be competitive as well. You can't just let things just go over you. This year, I was able to make an albatross, which is a 2 on a par 5 at Cleveland Heights during the county tournament. And that by far is the most exciting experience I've had my whole life. I knew I had a great drive, and I only had 145 yards in, and I knew that yardage is perfect 8-iron. So I picked my target, which was at that point right at the pin, and that's where it ended up being, was right at it. And I didn't even know it went in. My dad was up by the green, and he started jumping up and down, and I was like, oh, did it go in? And then from then on, I mean, everyone was congratulating me, and I didn't realize how rare that was. But there's only like 9 or 8 recorded in the PGA Tour. Golf is definitely a mental sport, probably about 75% mental. what I have to think of is the next shot. You cannot sit and cry over the shot you had before. You have to just keep going, because your next one could be a birdie, your next one could be a par. Anything is better than what you had the last shot. I've never wanted to quit golf, but I have wanted to take a break so I don't get burnt out. I try not to beat myself up out here, because it can be frustrating if you're not. There are days where you won't have your best practice. There's some days where I'm on the range and I don't like how the ball is flying, or maybe one day I'm hooking the ball, one day I'm fading it. It is definitely possible. You could start from nothing. There are girls that I know that have been playing golf for 2 years, and I play against them in tournaments, and it's crazy to think that they've never played before. Yes, I am committed to Florida Southern. I signed on November 9th, so I will continue my golf career with a Mox team. I want to be a physical therapist, so I'm going to go through the DPT program at Florida Southern. That'll be starting in 2019, and then from then on, go to work after.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central for this fourth and final segment. It's going to be brought to us by Hampton Inn Winter Haven, great partner of tourism and sports. But Loren Perez there, I know the family, and being a Bartow guy myself, and having been able to see kind of her develop, and now she's going to play for Florida Southern. And I don't know if you caught it in there, the toe, as they affectionately refer to the Bartow golf course, it's a special place because she didn't do her signing at Bartow High School. She did it at the golf course.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was kind of neat because all the hours that have been put in. So
Yeah,
Chris
very
Banks
cool.
and the whole crew out there, they do a great job of developing young players. And really at the end of the day, and of course many other courses do, at the end of the day, Coach was talking about, actually both of our coaches, on developing young people. So just neat to see when we have a success story like Loren Perez there. So Hampton Inn Winter Haven, our segment sponsor here, but spring training is right around the corner.
You know, it's hard to believe it's here, you know, already. And I was out and about yesterday in Lakeland and checking with the hotels, and some of them are already starting to feel the impact of it. So it's nice to see what a great economic impact spring training has to our community, because it definitely is a big boost, that's for sure.
Yeah, I believe, if I have these dates correct in my mind, the 20th will be the Tiger Barbecue, the 21st will be the Major League Scramble with the Tigers, the 22nd will be the annual exhibition game against the Florida Southern, the baseball team there, and then I think they're home that Saturday because they're on the road the next day, and then they're home that Saturday for their first spring training game. But you can definitely go to the Tigers box office and get your tickets. Those single game tickets are on sale now, so you definitely want to go. Or go to MLB.com/Tigers, click on spring training, and it'll prompt you through how to get your tickets for the 2018 spring training schedule at Publix Field at Joe Marchant Stadium. Alphi River Rendezvous, it's right here.
It's coming up this weekend, and it's annually the members of the Florida Frontiersmen who host the Alpha River Rendezvous, and it's the largest living history event in the Southeast. Over 1,000 adults and hundreds of children establish a pre-1840 campsite on the Florida Frontiersmen. So really get to see it. It's not that long ago that people really had to kind of tough it out, you know, and live out in the wilderness.
I just wondered, did they come to you to find out how it was in 1840?
Yeah. Well, I still have a lot of the stuff that I used back then in my garage, so it's a great educational experience for them.
You know, I can't get through a show without poking.
I know,
poking fun.
but it's amazing how great I still look after all these years.
In your own mind. Lakeland Pro Rodeo Extreme Edition will be going on at the RP Funding Center. That's this weekend, January 26th and 27th. Great event. Definitely want to check it out. They're going to be doing some new stuff with the event. Also this weekend, the Lakeland Pig Fest out at Sun and Fun.
Huge event, and we really get the season going with this event, with all the barbecue competitions that we have going on. Of course, we're going to have this one, and then next weekend we'll be at Smoke on the Water, which we had our Yes, Kevin and John today, and then we have the one in Haines City. So it gets really hopping here for the barbecue competition.
Well, and again, when you're looking at Sports Central and you're looking at sports and special events, or you're looking at leisure travelers coming into Polk County, generating that economic impact, it's not just about the events. It's not just about the local attractions or the hotels. It's also about the food and beverage. It's about the other activities that they can do when they're in Polk County. It really all put together generates a huge amount of economic impact. Arts and culture, or barbecue competitions, or different events like that. So you definitely always want to go to visitcentralflorida.org or centralfloridasports.com. We'll remind you a little bit later what those websites are, but wanted to mention those for events such as the Regency Festival, which we had a package on earlier. That's going to be next weekend, February 3rd and 4th at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale. This is a U10 and U9 festival, and it's presented by Publix. We couldn't do a lot of things that are done out there without the partnership of Publix. Absolutely.
Well, you know, you got a lot of softball going on, and this is big this time of the year, and it'll keep on rocking. You have the Freedom Sports Co-Ed Tournament. That's next weekend, February 2nd through February 4th at the Auburndale Softball Complex. And then we have senior softball, the USA Tournament of Champions, and that'll be the following weekend, February 9th through the 11th at the Auburndale Sports Complex.
I heard in the office the other day, there are upwards of 1,400 participants in that event, so huge piece of business coming into Polk County. Of course, we already talked about the Tiger spring training, but the collegiate spring training will be back in Polk County very soon, and that's, of course, the Russ Matt Central Florida Collegiate Invitational. That'll be Friday, February 16th through March 27th, and of course, that's in Winter Haven as well as the Lake Myrtle Sports Park and other places in the county, because in its busiest time, they're using college universities, sometimes they're using high schools, they're using all fields that are available, so you definitely want to go to russmattbaseball.com to get that schedule. And who knows, maybe your collegiate team or your alma mater is down here in Polk County doing some spring training.
Well, you know, soccer has become so big in Polk County, of course, with the Lake Myrtle Sports Complex, which is one of the top soccer complexes in the country. The Olympic Development Program is going to be taking place there February 10th to 11th, and it's a great opportunity for players in our community to be identified as, you know, the new up-and-coming superstars in the sport of soccer.
Absolutely. Well, as we're starting to run a little short on time, we want to let everybody know about an event, the Safari Wilderness Run. That'll be Saturday, February 17th. That's a 5K at Safari Wilderness, and nobody has never had this event before like this. You definitely want to check that out. We also have the first Lego League and Lego League Junior Regional Championship going on.
Event.
That'll be the 18th, and if I didn't mention it, the Safari Run is on the 17th, but the Lakeland Magic, they've got a number of games. They're a huge impact there at the RP Funding Center.
And it's great having them come in, and they're playing some good basketball too. And Neal, if you want to rattle off some of the dates they're going to be playing.
So February 3rd they'll be at home, Wednesday, February 7th, the 10th, the 21st, the 23rd. Of course, you can go to the rpfundingcenter.com for a full list of upcoming Lakeland Magic games. And again, it's so neat to have them in our community. And not to be outdone, the Florida Tropics at the RP Funding Center. Their next home game is February 9th. They also have one on the 16th and 17th. Great entertainment there at the RP Funding Center. Not just the sports, but the performing arts series, all those things going on there. We want to thank some of our sponsors that made this show possible: Spectrum, The Ledger, Media Group, Office Furniture Depot, Legoland Florida, and Harry's Old Place. Hank, just some of the sponsors that made this show possible.
And they're just such great support. We can't thank them enough. And you know, if you want to find out more about sporting events, just log in to www.centralfloridasports.com, or you can call us at 863-551-4750. We're going to be back Friday, February 9th for our next live show. But Neal, the radio show.
Yeah, every Tuesday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. on Talk 1430 and Talk 96.7, and then Thursday during drive time from 5 to 6 p.m. on those same stations, Talk 1430 and Talk 96.7. Did want to mention before we get out of here, the Visitor Information Center, which is located 1/2 mile south of I-4 and Highway 27, now has free samples of orange juice.
Yeah.
That's
and
good
great
stuff.
discounts on all your attraction tickets. can't miss the place.
Absolutely. As Hank mentioned earlier, Friday, February 9th will be our next show live here in studio from PGTV. For Hank Longo, I'm Neal Duncan. We will catch you again next time.